welcome to this class. We're going to paint these cherry blossom flowers. I chose this reference because I see a lot of potential with the background, and that's because there's this sea green, blue-ish color, aqua green, and I love it. And that's what got my attention actually, because I thought I can make it actually much brighter. I still want the contrast. I want nice contrast, just like we see in the reference image. So the contrast like between the background and these white-ish flowers. So I have a flat 20 size brush because now Da Vinci's is a softer brush. I always actually recommend to use a softer brush to wet the paper or re-wet the paper. You want to be gentle on the paper, and stiffer brushes work when you do like lifting from my experience. And then when you have like a stiffer round brush, that's a different story. But for painting like backgrounds, I don't see reason to use a stiffer brush unless you are trying to lift colors. What's happening is that the longer you wet the paper, the more time you will have to apply the colors wet on wet. And I'm almost there. Like, what tells me that I'm almost there? Well, first of all, like I start to see the paper like buckling, slightly buckling. So that's one of the clues. So now I have a close-up here, more of a close-up, and I'm still grabbing the three colors together, and I'm trying to find the areas where I want to apply it. So I went a little heavier over here and there, but this is all going to be shadowed anyway, right? And with a little more of the quin red, as this feels more reddish. So this is still like the yellow, blue, red. However, the main two colors are red and yellow. And I'm just finding a couple areas. Oops, this is a little more, but you know what? This is okay. This is going to be shadowed too. So, and then the edge will be a little more pinkish. And this is the cobalt blue, quin red. This is dry, right? If you can see this, this is like drier paint. And I need a little bit from here, which is the yellow ochre. I'm sorry, this is imidazzolon yellow. So there you go. I want something like this. When you mix yellow, blue, red together, you create like a shade of gray. So that's what it is. You want a shade of gray, and you want this to be the ratio. You want it to be like a cream top-like ratio between water and paint. And now what do we do with it? So we're gonna find these kind of softer shadows overall, and this is actually softer right here. And feel it out, because maybe you want this to be more bluish. So I just grabbed a little more blue. Maybe I want this to be a little more, all this part to be a little more bluish. So I'm going to grab a little bit more of the cobalt blue with it. There you go. And another thing what we can do is grab a tiny bit of green. If you have some green, I have sub green here. I'm just going to add a little bit of that sub green right in there, just to have that shade. There you go. Something like that. And I don't need to really add it here, but as long as it does not bleed towards these petals on top, I will be just fine. And I'm gonna start by wetting the background, and actually I'll use a larger brush. And then when I get closer towards the petals, I might just use a smaller brush overall. So I'm just gonna wet the background to give myself a nice, like a head start. I don't need to wet it too long. So I'm gonna start with the lightest colors first, and I see yellows. So there's my imidazzolon yellow. I should have diluted more of this. So there's my imidazzolon yellow, and there's some of this iso yellow. So I'm starting with from the lightest colors first, Then more of that imidazzolon yellow. There's some of that yellow here, some of that yellow there, right? So for now, it's kind of like just to find some spots where to add it. Now this is the area that needs to be the darkest. So this is when I actually want to grab more of that indigo and get closer. So something like this will take a while actually to paint, because I need to get in between these ones here and there, and overall, like, this should be more like an aqua blue, I'd say. So I grab more of that phthalo blue with that marine blue. I'm gonna go through it, but stay away from these flowers. Overall, whenever we paint the background, I always suggest to have like an area that's much lighter, an area that's much darker. So this will be my lighter area, and technically I should add, if I can, a little more of this indigo if it's not too late. So I'm thinking to start with this petal right here, and then slowly go towards this one to add a shadow. So start the shadow with wet on wet. So this one is soft here, but then just finish this part wet on dry, where I can leave some spaces, just like we can see in the reference image. And then I just need a little more color in there too. So something like this. And then I'm going to continue going here wet on dry. Why wet on dry? Because I need to leave like spaces wider. So there's my quin red, cobalt blue, and there's the yellow. But you know what? This is too diluted with water. I need this to be cream top, so the paint does not spread much. There you go. That's more like it, a little more blue. So that's more like a cream top. And I wipe my brush on a towel first, actually, because I really don't want that much paint, that much color here. Maybe even this is a little too much. So I'm gonna clean my brush, wipe on a towel, grab the same thing, but more bluish. Something like that, and then pull it. Actually, it's like a blue violet. I just need a little more blue at this. Something like this. There's a little one right there. And then a little more color. I guess that's more like a red gray. And then we have over these edges plenty of these highlights. And I want to change the shade of this gray. That's why I keep grabbing colors. So now it feels more like a blue gray, actually, what I have on my brush. I'm going to grab indigo with, let's say, sap green and water-like ratio. And actually some of the red too. Make it darker. And go in between, maybe like here. Just like we see in the reference, there's these darker tones that we see. And it's like we need to just add a little color to make it, to give it more depth. And then with that damp brush, I'm just gonna soften it only in a couple areas, and then maybe burnt sienna, some of the iso yellow, and add it closer there, and then clean my brush, wipe it on a towel very well, and just a damp brush. So I let this to dry for about an hour, and I'm going to remove masking fluid using this pickup cement eraser. I do have masking here. I just realized that I actually placed masking over here too. And I had a couple of spots. I think it was unintentional actually to place it there. So thank you so much for your time. And please let me know if you have any questions.